this character who's in this show featured prominently. You don't get his backstory, and I still haven't 150 chapters later. The story's in its final arc, and they still haven't given you that.
Who is it?
You want me to tell you?
No.
Yeah.
I really hope that they
Mikey
actually
earmuffs.
Dude, I literally have fucking headphones on with your.
I
I just saw it. I just saw what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Oy vey.
All right.
Go for it.
Nothing to say about that?
No.
Okay.
No.
We're starting off on a angry foot.
Yeah, I guess
Jordy
so.
this
seriously.
morning,
A little bit,
giving
actually.
us some love grumps. It's all good.
I didn't get my coffee yet. Hold on a second.
No coffee. It's too cold for him. Well,
Okay, that's
I'm
better.
in a tank top.
It's fucking cold in the studio, fellas.
It's really cold.
Even though it's summer right now, because I like to keep the air conditioning on full blast.
we pre-chilled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome back
To Animation Anime.
This is a big one for me, guys.
Yeah. This is a fun one, man. I love this when it was coming out.
It was different. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It's not. I've never seen one like it.
This is a passion one for me. So
Okay.
Well, I mean,
buckle up, boys.
Look at
Is that like a warning
that's
to me?
that's a warning shot.
look what you're wearing. So for our viewers, or sorry, listeners, we are wearing Draken's
Cardigan thing, yeah, because that's my fucking.
He's
dude.
cosplaying right
I knew
now.
that as
That's
soon
my
as I
guy.
saw him. I was
Yeah.
like, "That's Jay's guy.
That's my guy.
That's that guy."
He's the best.
All right. So Tokyo Revengers. We're gonna spoil the shit out of it, just so you
Yes.
know. But if you're watching us, likely you already know that.
Yes, it's what we do.
It's what we
And,
do. We spoil the fuck out of everything. So
Yep. Okay, so I have two descriptions for Tokyo Revengers.
Let's do it, man.
One of them, so in an anime sense, it's got like Your Name meets Erased meets Death Note kind of vibes, all that folded up into one.
Yep,
Yeah.
I knew the erased thing would come through.
the erase thing for sure.
In a Western sense, it's got like Sons of Anarchy meets Fight Club meets Dazed and Confused.
Okay, dude, the Sons of Anarchy thing, I so got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I so got it. Dude.
Yeah.
But the Dazed and Confused.
Well, it's just a bunch of teenagers in high school kind of
Yeah.
like hanging out and chilling and doing their thing, right? So there is that like light
Yeah.
element of friends just chilling sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just like a group of buddies that are
Exactly.
just doing shit.
Which is that's Dazed and Confused. Also, like might add, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Same.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
Okay,
So,
cool,
Yeah,
sick.
no, the camaraderie and
Yeah.
like the. I mean, it's a show about gangs,
Yeah.
and you really get that like tight knit gang feel from these characters. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like they really do feel like the best of fucking friends.
Totally.
Yeah.
I also think it's probably not an accident that Takemichi's name, when the gang says it, because it's Takemichi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they call him Takemichi.
Mitchie.
Mitchie. Mitchie.
No, I did not put that together. That would be hilarious.
It could be,
but-
right?
Yeah.
It could be. Generally, it was an enjoyable watch, this show. You know what I mean?
It
was
there
fun.
it is.
I will
Yes.
say, like, it was a
Yes.
hard watch, though. There's a
Why?
lot. There's a lot to digest. There's a
Yeah.
lot going
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So many characters. So many plot twists. Not to mention, like, so much of the plot is driven by inner monologue. It's
Yes.
people thinking of what's happening and what's going on, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you add on top of that time travel.
Yes.
You're kind of locked in Takemichi's head for most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. It was just a lot. I felt it wasn't smooth in that way. It was a little janky. Every time I sat down to watch, I was like, okay, what's happening again? Like, where are we?
Well, and then not to mention, you do have to deal with some of the paradox a little bit.
Yeah, which we'll get into
See,
because
but
apparently
I can-
we're a time travel podcast now.
But it's very cool in the way that they approach it, right? Like
Yeah.
They do
again,
certain things that takes care
care
of some of the other issues.
Yeah, it's true. And again, it's one of those things. I keep saying it. We got to watch Steins Gate.
Sure.
Because I can't remember when Steins Gate first came out, but it feels like it came out before Erased. But
You say it as if Steins Gate is like the scientific gold standard for explaining how time travel would work in real life.
Yes, 100%. That's how I feel. Because I'm gonna say this again. If you were to do actual time travel where your body had to physically like just blip and go back into time, we would end up being in space somewhere and we would just die.
I mean, that is a possibility if you go to the wrong spot.
Yeah, but like say for example, I'm sitting here.
Here we go.
I'm sitting here. I blip
already.
Yeah.
I blip.
Okay.
And I'm going back in time. The Earth is not going to be in this exact spot where I blipped.
You don't know that time travel doesn't have a built-in mechanism though to like follow the Earth. Like maybe it's an Earth-based like science.
Maybe it utilizes gravity to
so you have a cheat code, is what you're saying.
in its relative spot on the Earth.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you can science fiction explain away all this shit.
Because time travel can really quickly also be time and space travel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what I think about you?
He pulled out the Excalibur Baka on
Right away, yeah.
Right away.
Honestly, I'll take it. Okay, do we want to get a senpai's corner and some background on the show right now?
Yeah, we'll dig
from
into
a
it
very
real
excited
quick.
senpai.
Yeah. So Tokyo Revengers, or in Japanese,
Of course,
Jordy,
I can't do it because then I'm racist.
Tokyo Rebenjazu
Yep. There it is.
is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Ken Wakui. It has been serialized in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine since March 2017, and an anime television series adaptation by Leiden Films aired from April to September 2021, with a season 2 shortly approaching, possibly out within the next few months.
Interesting.
Or maybe very soon based on when this episode drops. It could be
That's true.
either out or just around the corner. So,
I'm very curious to see how a season 2 unfolds.
oh yeah, because what a way to leave it.
Oh, dude.
What a fucking cliffhanger, dude. And we'll get into that. But
yeah.
I
anyways,
hated that. I hated that. like, at least give me like some. Like, I love a good cliffhanger, like end of an episode. But man, to leave it on a season,
I know. Epic. Loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, produced by Leiden Films, directed by Koichi Hatsumi. It features scripts by Yasuyuki Moto and character designs by Keigo Ota, who obviously adapted Wakui's designs. And that the mangaka who actually drew this went through a huge stylistic change very early on in the manga run.
Okay.
So the first couple chapters of the manga, the characters look, I would say, a little less anime.
Interesting.
And there was like a little bit of like a crudeness and like an ugliness, I think, to the way that he kind of was like drawing these characters.
I feel like that would have lend itself to this show.
A little bit, but then like it cleaned up a little bit, and then you ended up with a little bit of like, the bigger eyes and the more androgynous appearances for some of the characters and whatnot, which I think also works for this and has lent a really unique kind of visual style to this.
Totally.
But that's the thing, though. Like, any kind of anime is going to be way more polished than a manga.
No, this happened in the manga. It changed.
Oh, in the manga, it changed.
The first couple chapters was a certain art style, and then Wakui actually changed his art style in the manga to be more traditionally anime as the popularity rose and stuff. You know what I mean? So
I like that.
Got to get that money.
I mean, I think
Gotta get that bread.
I think you'd have to see both styles really to compare and decide kind of what you like better, right? Because I've seen both. I greatly prefer the style change after the fact.
Okay.
I like where they went.
It's more to your sensibilities.
way more to my aesthetic taste.
And that was on purpose. They wanted
sure.
They wanted to get the people who already like this art form to like their shit, right?
Now, the other interesting thing about Wakui is he actually draws on a lot of life experience for this story. So he was actually involved in the Yankee Bosozuko gangs that these gangs are based off of.
Okay.
All the gangs and the...
So he was a delinquent.
Yeah, the fashion style that you see, the jumpsuits with the embroidery on them.
Yeah.
That's a very real thing.
Interesting.
That actually exists. It was a culture called Yankee Culture, where they had like the pompadours and like the matching uniforms. They rode really crazy motorcycles. It was like the Japanese motorcycle gangs of like the 90s and early 2000s.
Interesting.
And this is literally like a love letter to that.
Interesting.
Wakui drew from his experiences in those gangs for this. And there are specific things, apparently he hasn't, I don't know if he's gone into detail on it, but specific things that are in this that he has witnessed with his own eyes.
Like straight autobiographical shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, so he's a really cool guy, and
Yeah.
like
He's fucking hard as fuck.
Yeah.
yeah, and what a cool life to be like in like this street gang, and then go on to make like a manga about it.
About
and
it, yeah.
I mean, speaking of
explode and be
street
huge.
gang, well,
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
to be pretty cool now.
Yeah,
after
it's
the fact.
a cool story.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
It's
like
a wild-
while that's happening, I'd be like, I don't know. I just got my friend. Like I saw my friend get stabbed.
yeah,
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
yeah, you know.
Crazy.
So you were telling how fucked up I am for liking Made in Abyss. You're gawking
Bro,
over.
don't even. Don't even, dude.
I'm sorry. Are these guys 7 years old?
Yeah.
They might as well be.
Do we have a weird obsession with their genitals?
Some of them probably do.
So another like kind of interesting bit of like background or you know something I want to bring up in Senpai's Corner and,
Sure.
and kind of get
Yeah.
it out of the way in our discussion
Yeah.
is in the manga and the original run of the anime, part of the Tokyo Manji gang's uniform
Yeah.
is the swastika.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So this is something that was actually censored out of only Crunchyroll's
Oh, really?
version.
That's where I watched it.
Worldwide, elsewhere, it isn't censored out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's prominently in the manga. You see it on their uniforms. You see it on their motorcycles. You see it on flags. You see it come up several times. Now, this is like a controversial thing and a bit of a bone of contention because this is kind of exposing how Western-centric people's way of thinking is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the fact that there's any controversy around this at all, I think is really a symptom of how Western-centric our thinking is. There is a whole humongous part of the world
Yeah. That doesn't see that symbol.
that has great reverence for this symbol for religious
Yeah.
purposes.
Yeah, it's a
sign
Buddhist
of
symbol.
of divinity. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? This is a holy thing that they hold in incredibly high regard. You
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we're not going to pretend like it wasn't co-opted by, you know, the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't forget that at all, right? But
Yeah.
I also think it begs the question of like, at what point are Asian cultures allowed to start taking it back?
Yeah, it being
That's a
erased.
question. Yeah.
You know, it's obviously not a question for us to answer.
Of course, but it's curious.
shows like this are,
Well,
an,
I'm
are an interesting
Buddhist.
way, right? But
Yeah.
but like I'm also not like a Holocaust survivor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
also
true.
not Jewish, right? So
Yeah.
like, I don't want to like jump in on that conversation
Yeah.
balls deep, but I will
Yeah.
say that this anime and this manga is an interesting way to kind of pose that question of like, you know, when do they get to have this back?
Yeah.
And not have the ridicule and not have people
The
like
censorship.
The
the
censorship.
censorship
But-
or people protesting and things like that, right?
Yeah, again, I think that's a very North American problem, right? Because in
Yeah.
all other parts of like when I went to Korea as a younger kid and seeing that symbol when I went to go visit the temples and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
one, it's backwards, right? Like the original one I think faces right, and the one that was co-opted faces left, and so it's. I don't know.
In the Western world, though, we aren't capable of differentiating it on a day by
Yeah.
day. You see the general shape of it, even
Yeah.
the close one. We've done shows in the past where they've like altered it and made it look a little different.
Close, yeah.
And all of
Yeah.
us were like, "That's a swastika."
Yeah.
Come on.
We know what you're doing.
Yeah, we know.
But
Yeah,
that's the thing is they're
Well, yeah,
not
yeah,
at all implying that
Yeah.
the way those ones were.
Exactly.
Xeon is
No, no.
implying Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
Whereas these guys are implying Buddhism. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's
That's true. Yeah.
you know, it's part of their mantra,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and actually the Tokyo Manji gang mantra is through the heavens I alone am the what is it? It's like a famous Buddhist quote. I alone am the honored one.
Okay.
Through the and that's supposed to be what Buddha said, the first thing that Buddha said
Yeah.
on Earth,
Interesting.
and that's like the Tokyo Manji gang's like mantra
Okay.
that they carry around with them.
All right.
So it's just interesting. I think how they worked it in, but it's like always
shame.
it's always a bit of a conversation that comes up, and I've actually also had friends of mine kind of seeing this from the outside and being like, so I noticed like the swastika, and like I know it's the Buddhist one, but like a lot of these guys have blonde hair and blue eyes as well. So
Yeah.
what's going on with
that's
that?
a case of anime trope, just like not
No, it's,
clashing.
it's
I don't
it's a
think so
It's a
anymore,
symptom
man.
of, no, but the blonde hair is a symptom of the style. That was
Yeah.
a Yankee
Oh, was it?
Bosuzoku thing, everybody was bleaching their hair back then.
Interesting.
They wanted blonde hair. They wanted that cool North
Yeah.
American biker look. That's all it was.
And in this show too, it becomes part of their uniform, right? Like some gangs have all the same kind of hair color in certain instances. Isn't that a thing? I think that is.
sometimes
They're all just
like,
sticking
it's
to that
about,
style.
Again,
Okay, yeah.
it's all about uniformity, right? Because you're a gang, or like, well, even think about the armies, right? Why do you have a uniform, right? To differentiate yourself from the enemies or whatever, right?
But the one gang definitely, they all had some sort of like gold part of their hair dyed.
Yeah.
Like the whole gang was like that.
Yeah, but I also think nowadays too, you can't consider, stylistically, sure, Asian people may not have these big, bubbly eyes, right, as anime, but like this stylistically, Asian people dye their hair all the time. They wear contacts all the time.
We've been watching K-pop for days. They all have blonde hair and eyebrows.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
That's how it goes. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think that is a question anymore, or really it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
When people ask, like, sure, maybe like in the '90s when I first watched anime, and like, you would have these pink hair girls, but again, it's an anime. It's fantasy to a degree, right? But yeah. I love this anime. Let's fucking go on this thing.
That's good. That caps off my little spiel.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I want to talk about art, but the art in this show is all character based, pretty much. You know what I mean? There's not a lot else going on that's really of note.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the world is just Japan, like, right? Like, there's nothing
Exactly.
as far as world building goes, there's not much there. It's
Yeah.
Japan back in the day.
The characters, though.
The characters though are cool
crazy.
as fuck.
And again, I mentioned earlier, there's a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
And you have to give them credit because it would be really easy to lose track of who's who. And granted, like I remember 0 of their names.
Yeah, that's
But-
okay. I gotcha.
But they all had differentiating features from a design standpoint, so that no two really looked close enough that you were like, oh, those look so close and similar, right?
Yeah.
There was always something that made them different.
100%.
I appreciated that, especially, like I said, in a show with so many fucking characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and the time period that this was also happening, like, you would see pompadours, right? Like,
Yeah. I think one guy had it in this show, the red hair. He had bright red hair.
Atsushi.
Yeah.
But it's also like you had Harajuku Park. They always have like the different groups of people. There's one group of people who like that 50s like Elvis kind of stuff, like the greaser look. So they had all that kind of uniform look too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
Warriors. Remember that
Yeah.
movie?
Oh yeah. Warriors.
Yeah, like
come out
each
to
gang
play.
just like
Yeah,
picks
yeah.
a vibe, and they're like, "That's us. We're the baseball ones."
Yeah, but again, also too, it's a sense of belonging, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
And that's what
And
this
this-
movie's about too. In the end, too, a lot of it is about that.
Yeah, but I think that the character designs being unique as well, like it lends itself to people having their favorites and people kind of picking. And,
Totally.
and you just mentioned K-pop a few minutes ago. I drew a lot of parallels as well to like people's attitude towards K-pop and having their favorite member of their K-pop group. You
Their
know what I mean?
bias.
And, yeah, their bias, right? People are the same way with this show.
Yeah.
People have their fucking guy. Like that's their guy.
Yeah.
Like I have 2 of them. It's a tie, but like we'll get into that later.
I didn't really
But, like-
pick a guy, but like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a guy.
But like you got to have a fave, and like it lends itself to that, and I think that works in its favor for sure.
I'm mostly curious who Mikey's guy is.
Well, he's fucking wearing them.
Oh, that's everybody's guy. That would
But
probably
he-
have been mine if I picked one too.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to hear. So
Okay,
you're
yeah.
a Draken guy too.
I think so.
But he is the best, though. Like, okay,
By
we'll get
far.
into we'll get
Okay,
into
okay.
this character later. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, and plot, yeah.
I mean, we can get a name first. We're doing characters. Let's talk about Draken.
No, we didn't. We talked, but we didn't talk about music.
There's not really anything to say about music.
You know what there is to say about music?
What is there?
There's subscribing to music.
You're off your game, buddy.
No, I know. I've been really off my game lately. Fuck.
It's almost better.
Yeah. Fuck you. It's almost
It's
better.
better for us.
No, that you're off your game. I like that you're off your game. It's
Why?
funnier.
Oh.
It makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're laughing at
okay,
your.
then I love you guys.
We're laughing at your missteps.
Oh, no, we're happy.
We're happy. Switching my tune. See how I bring it back to music? Yeah.
Good try.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
but please do like and subscribe, guys.
Yeah.
We really appreciate
Wherever
it. It
you
means a
guys
lot.
get your podcasts. Also, we're going to be at Anime North.
Or
we already
have.
How many episodes is that gonna happen? Dude?
Yeah,
I don't know, a bunch.
At least for this recording.
Yeah.
And maybe
Surprise,
the next
guys!
one.
We don't
Yeah.
record these the week of.
Yeah.
There you go.
Surprise. But we love you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Plot.
Get back to it. No, we're in character still.
We're on
we?
characters.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about some of them.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
yes.
Draken.
Yeah. Okay.
We were about to talk about him. So he's tough looking as shit. He is tough. He's the tough guy.
Big tough dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he gets this cool backstory,
He's
Yes.
got.
which is badass.
He is the most down to earth
Yeah.
out of everybody. He. I think he's the most well rooted and well grounded character as far as like.
Yeah.
Just life experience.
I'd say I agree.
And everything, and like understanding social dynamics of like being respectful and honoring other people.
Yeah.
You
He's
know?
also got this like stand-in older brother vibe with Mikey.
Big
Yeah.
bro vibes for
Big
sure.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy because when we get into plot later, we'll find out why that's important for Mikey, especially.
100%. 100%.
But yeah, I don't know. He just is the like, and character design too. Like he's the one that looks the coolest by far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
by far.
He
like
stands out, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? He's very like imposing, and he's just, I don't know, like this is what I mean about like Wakui just being like such a fucking boss. Like
Yeah.
the little details and the little things that he puts in there that he doesn't have to. He
Yeah.
could easily just get away with, you know,
yeah,
so many like just cop out design choices
for sure.
but he chooses instead to give like this subtle character, and
Yeah.
it makes you wonder like how many of these people are based off of people he knew,
Yeah.
like to an insane degree.
Yeah.
We'll never really know.
Like
but,
he took the one qualifying factor of each gang member he knew and was
Yeah.
like, I'll just make a character and make sure that one qualifying factor is prominent.
but it's
Yeah.
got it really makes you feel like that he had to have based that off real life. Like
Probably.
it's so human.
Yeah.
Some of the qualities that these characters have are so human.
Totally.
That it has to come from real life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
even if we look at our own group of friends, like we can individually pick out their style, and
Yeah, or
what
like a
they're-
vibe
they-
that differentiates them from the rest.
Yeah,
I know what you
exactly.
mean. Yeah.
Well, I have a friend who literally who loves this show, and she has gone through and basically attributed all of her friends to one of the characters in the Tokyo Manji game.
Yeah.
That she just is just like, I know these people in my real life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's cool. And what's cool too is some of the anime shows with groups where they do that.
Yeah.
They pick like character traits that are like kind of silly. Like for some reason, the one that pops into my head is Dragon Maid,
Yeah.
which is like a group of people, but the character traits that they choose to be the prominent traits of each one of those dragons is like a silly one. Like one of them is the hungry one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of them's the childish one.
So extreme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas this
Yeah.
one's like one of them's the kind of like sad, misunderstood one.
One's
one of
the
them's
broken one.
You see what I
Yeah.
mean?
You know what I
One of
mean?
them's the aggressive one, right?
Yeah.
But like in a gang, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You're gonna get that group of people.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're Takamichi.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm curious what you mean.
I don't know, because you're like sweet and
Aw.
you like, you're like all about friendship.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't try and tell me next that you think you're Mikey though.
No, I'm not Mikey.
Okay, because you're not.
I'm Draken.
No, Jay's Draken.
Well, he's got the cardigan, but I'm Draken. I've got the hair. My hair.
Together, you make one perfect Draken.
I cut my hair
I
specifically
wish I could have hair like Mikey.
to specifically look like Draken.
Yeah.
No, actually, that's not true. My wife just cut my hair, but it just happened to look a little bit like
All
Draken's.
right. Good job. You look good.
No, I'm Tora, to be honest.
Is that from this show?
Yeah,
Which one's that?
that's the tiger dude that's really fucked up. Kazutora.
I
Kazutora.
don't remember any of their names.
You're not Kazutora. We'll get into why you're not Kazutora later when we talk about what the fuck Kazutora does.
Sure.
Okay, then who am I?
I don't know. We'll find out by the end of this
Yeah.
episode, maybe.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, that's the goal now. That's the goal. Okay, let's go and talk about some of the other characters. Let's talk about Takamichi, the
Yeah.
fucking crybaby hero,
Yeah.
who is just so shook by everything that's going on constantly.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Except when he's in the present and he's just like very passive and like chill and like not affected by much.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Yeah.
an interesting that when he time travels, his character changes. You know what I mean? From the past to the present a little bit.
A little bit.
Always, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the nice little growth part in him, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you see little blips of it, like in increments.
He's also like kind of dumb. Like he can't remember
Yeah.
shit from his past at all. And it's like these are huge life events that we're witnessing that occurred in your past. And you're like, oh yeah, that happened. I forgot about that. Like that's
Well,
a common trend for him.
Not necessarily. The timeline we're seeing him play out
Yeah.
is unique.
Yeah, but it's like he's altering it as he goes.
Well, what he's
Yeah.
trying to alter was a timeline where he was not involved in the Tokyo Manji gang at all.
That's true. he wasn't really a part of
Oh,
it.
that's
and-
true.
Right, so he's building these new memories, but at the same time,
Yeah.
like the present day Takamichi, like
Yeah.
he's kind of like repressed a lot of those memories or forgotten about them because he's just kind of moved on and detached and
But
dissociated
a lot of them didn't
himself.
happen.
So here's where we get into a little bit of time travel paradox conversation.
When he meets Draken and Mikey,
Yeah.
and we see him meet them,
Yeah.
that's the first time he's ever met them.
Yeah.
Ever. Even in that previous timeline where his girlfriend gets murdered and he sees it on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
Yeah.
He's never met Mikey or Draken before.
That's true. He just
Ever.
remembered. You're right, actually. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. But in a time travel paradox conversation, because he is his present day mind in that timeline,
Yeah,
like the memory, when he changes and his memories would like then grow with him to that point, they're not in his head when he's back in time. Do you know what I'm saying?
so this is why
Like
I think
when you change the past, but your self that went to the past keeps your future mind, do the things that you changed immediately change your memories as well too?
Yes, they address that. They say that when the change happens, their memories have like a refresh happen.
Yeah.
They have a flooding in of new memories
Yeah.
that didn't previously exist rush into their head.
Okay.
The same thing happens to Naoto. That's how he knows that Takamichi actually has come back.
Yeah.
It's because all of a sudden Naoto just gets a rush of memories that he didn't previously have overwhelm him and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, Takamichi's back."
See, there's just too much in the show. for
No,
me to keep
dude, that's
track of.
them addressing the fucking paradoxes.
I'm sure they're
dude.
addressing it. There was so much I missed. I'm sure.
Yeah,
this
well,
is going to be a
that's
common
what
trend
I'm
in this
here
episode.
for,
Yes,
baby.
thank you. Yeah. All right. What other characters we can talk about? Mikey, who's like,
I'm Mikey.
no, we're not talking about you though. We're talking about this guy. Visually, he's the plainest of them all. He's the simplest looking guy.
I wouldn't agree with that.
His
Like,
character.
he's-
He's like, look at all these guys. They
Yeah,
all
but
have
the-
these. He's
yeah,
just a guy.
No, but he's the smallest one out of all of them.
That's true.
He's got the long hair. He's
Yeah.
also the scrawniest of them all, but
Yeah.
he's also one of the strongest of them all. And that
doesn't come out in his character
That's what I
design,
mean.
though,
He
right?
looks
Yeah.
unassuming. He is assuming as a character.
I think
Yeah.
that's part of what makes his atomic bomb kicks so fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Is
Yeah.
that he's just like
Comes
this
out of
little
nowhere.
dude.
Because there were moments where in my notes I was writing like, why did this guy get to be the leader? And then they give me a flashback to when the gang was created. I was like, oh, because he fucks people up with his kicks.
You know what though? I see what you're saying about how his design's a little simpler, but what I will say is, and I don't know if this is my preconceived notions about anime because I've watched so much.
Yeah.
Before I watched this show, all of the art that I had seen and all of like the promotion that I'd seen, and it might have been the way they situated it as well. I thought Mikey was for sure the main character of this show.
Oh, interesting.
I thought there's no way it's that fucking guy with the awful blonde, gelled up,
Yeah.
half pompadour updo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I started watching the show, I'm
Frosted
like, wait a
tips.
second, this guy's not like
Yeah.
at all the main character. How
Yeah.
like when he looks like that,
Yeah.
and they prominently display him, how is he not?
Yeah.
Then you find out narratively that like to everybody else in this show, he is the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
loves Mikey.
Yeah. And as a viewer, I think actually they intentionally make Draken more of the guy you want to see more of. Like it's more of his story even than Mikey's, I'd say.
I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah.
caught themselves watching this being like, "Oh my god, like
Yeah.
I really love that Draken guy. I don't
Yeah.
like he doesn't
But
he's
to-
not the main character, but why
No.
do I love him so much?"
To me,
It's-
Takemichi is a conduit for which to tell all the other people's stories. Do you know what I mean? Like he's the
Yeah.
main character because he's the mechanism through which all this occurs.
Yep.
That's
but
what I was
his
gonna
story
say.
is not the one that is what you want.
Yeah, it's like it's having a story narrated to you, right? And I think that you've kind of hit it right on the nail. Takamichi is the narrator of just the Manji gang.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
And like it's cool because even as I've read the manga like far beyond where the anime has stopped, it's almost like this catalog of backstories
Yeah.
that you're getting on all of these different characters. You know what I mean?
And
like,
because of the time travel mechanism, they can change the backstories at will and change the shit that goes
Yeah.
down too.
and eventually you find yourself, I'm at towards the end of the story now, it's wrapping up and you're like, wow, like we've got backstories for pretty much everyone except for like one guy.
Yeah.
And like it's been such a regular thing that the fact that they've omitted this one guy's backstory, by the
no,
way, a
that's gonna be
character
important.
who's been in it since the beginning,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
very peculiar to me.
Okay. Interesting.
That's because
Yeah.
you're reading the manga, though.
Oh yeah, I'm way
Yeah,
beyond the
you're-
anime,
yeah.
but I'm just saying like you get a lot of backstories in
Yeah.
this as well, and even still this character who's in this show
Yeah.
featured prominently, you don't get his backstory, and I still haven't like 150 chapters later, the story's in its final arc, and
Interesting.
they still haven't given you that.
Who is it?
You want me to tell you?
No!
Yeah.
I really hope that they
Mikey
actually like.
earmuffs.
Dude, I literally have fucking headphones on with your.
Oh.
I just saw it. I just saw what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Oy vey.
All right. Interesting. There's so many fucking characters, so we don't need to go through all of them. There's one other character I think begs some touching on.
Two others.
Okay.
You can go to yours and I'll finish.
So
up
the
if you
other
don't.
character I think who's worth talking about, who is like not really like a huge character, probably from a viewer standpoint of someone you love, but who's very important to the story, is Naoto.
Okay.
Because Naoto, he's the detective dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the main support.
What do you mean, like for Takemichi?
Takemichi,
Yeah,
right? Like,
sure. In the future, in the past, which is where most of the show takes place, he's not even there.
Yeah, all Naoto really does is monitor Takemichi's body
Yeah.
while he's in the past.
I have to disagree with you there because he also has access to all the information as far as the police goes, right?
Yeah,
and,
that's
and
true.
all that stuff.
When they
So-
convene, yeah.
Yeah, and then so Takemichi gains all this new knowledge in the present time and then takes it back with him.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Right.
It is helpful to have a cop.
They
Yeah.
need it because in the present, the gang's all dispersed. He's not part of it anymore. Like
Yeah.
it's always a new situation when he gets to the present, and Naoto's always there to be like, okay, now that you're back, let me tell you what's different this time.
Yeah.
Here's where we are. Here's
And
what's
the
going
gang's
on.
no longer just a motorcycle gang. It's like a crime syndicate.
Yeah, yeah.
In
It's
the
the
present.
And the
fucking
people you thought were in
Yakuza.
charge, that's not how that went down. Now this guy runs it, and
That's right.
yeah, all this
It's
shit. went
a
crazy.
full-blown mafia.
So I have a theory about Naoto that I actually think he's like something's up with him. Like he knows more than he's letting on, because he's like, I don't know, the way he's playing Takemichi and controlling the situation. It seems like there's more to him than just the detective dude. You know what I mean? I don't know. Could be wrong about that.
Do you want me to tell you if you are or not? Should I?
Yeah.
I shouldn't. I know too much. I'm going to spoil things for people. I'm just not
Yeah,
gonna say it.
exactly. This is the thing. This is for so somebody who comes on. They know we're spoiling the anime.
Yeah.
I know,
right? But they don't know
know
if we're gonna go up any
Somebody
further.
put a gag in my mouth or something.
But I want to know.
I might.
Can we spoil?
OnlyFans.com/animation.
Shouldn't we be allowed to spoil it for everyone though? Just because I want to know.
Well, I don't. I have
Okay.
headphones. Literally, your voices go straight into my ears.
Okay, hold on. I can give my opinion. I didn't detect any of that off Naoto.
Okay. Interesting.
That's all I'm going to say.
For me, it was a hint of a whisper of something.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
like, my cockamamie theories that I come up with.
Sure.
That's it. Okay, who's the other character probably two, because I don't think he was one of them.
Yeah, well, they're kind of
yeah.
connected a little bit in their story.
Yeah.
Is Baji and
Okay.
Kazutora.
I knew that was
Yeah,
what you were going to say.
100%. We have to talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, like two founding members of
Yeah.
Toman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like, I don't want to say like the heart of this show, but like considering everything that happens up until Baji and Kazutora having their kind of final face off there
Yeah.
on the Bloody
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
I didn't think that something could like move me like emotionally more than watching Takemichi say goodbye to his girlfriend in a burning car
Yeah.
while she's impaled by the steering column.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Like, I think I'm tapped out on emotion from this show.
Yeah.
They somehow
got
they
you.
somehow managed with the Baji
Yeah.
situation to
Yeah.
just fucking rip what was left of my heart out of my chest. And I think it has to do with how well those characters were written.
Yeah.
Baji's backstory with Kazutora
Yeah.
and the stealing of the motorcycle
And killing.
yeah, we'll get
fucking
into that
Mikey's
in the
brother.
fly.
Yeah. So
Like, let's
with
be
those
real
characters,
here.
my situation was I felt all the emotions of that scene as well too. Definitely felt it. But by the time they introduced that storyline, I was already having a hard time keeping up with what the fuck was going on and who all the characters were. And those characters didn't come out as standout, like important characters. 'Cause I was like, there's so many. I was already kind of burned out on trying to figure out who everyone is and who's important and what's going on. So yes, that scene was written very fucking well, and I definitely felt the impact of it. But as far as their story on a whole, at that point, I was already kind of like, it's just another one of the
get that.
catalog of backstories.
I
You know what
totally,
I mean?
get you're
Yeah.
right, and like where it lands in the story is a little strange. Like
It's late.
I think part like the ramifications of that event and how it affects the other characters.
Yeah.
really drives home the importance of it.
Well,
You know
that's the
what I mean? Which-
cliffhanger at the end, right?
right? But like
Yeah.
even beyond that, and you
But
don't,
it
you don't
gives
get
them
that.
the
So
motivation, though,
but,
right?
Right, but like I understand you not
Yeah.
being super moved by that because
Yeah.
you don't see what that whole thing does to Mikey,
Right.
or or to Chifuyu, or to which
Yeah.
is the guy who shares the noodles with him at his grave,
Who
right?
also
Like,
was a super late addition of a character.
but an amazingly likable character in a short period of time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like what a fucking awesome character, and even beyond, like
Yeah.
he's so great, right? But you know, it's unfortunate that you have to keep going to kind of get more of that impact, but
Yeah.
I still fucking felt it like
Sure.
hard, man.
Yeah.
I cried like a little baby.
Nice.
You know, and keep in mind, like these events may not seem super important in the grand scheme of the story, but like they're affecting Takemichi very
Yeah.
heavily.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and keep in mind, Baji was the first death that we get
Yeah.
that happened in the past.
Yeah.
That can't be changed.
yeah.
When he goes
Yeah.
back forward in time and Akun jumps off the building.
Yeah. He can go back and change
That's
it.
horrifying. That was a gut punch in the early
Yeah.
part of the show.
Yeah.
But you remember,
Like he can go back and change it.
It's undoable.
Yeah,
it's
because when the
undoable.
show first starts, he's like, I got to go back and like save this one person, and then he comes to the future. He's like, now I got to go back and save 2 people.
Yeah.
and then again he's like, now I got to go back and save 3 people.
Yeah.
it just keeps happening like that, right?
right? Yeah,
but this one, you're
but
right.
This one happens in the past, so it has some more weight to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Agreed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want to get into the plot?
Yes.
Let's
Okay.
do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so we start off the show. Takemichi gets pushed in front of a train, right? And immediately time travels. And there's this like life before his eyes scene, which like kind of sets up what the show's about, right? It's about him reliving and changing his life, right? Like changing what went down. So we're in the past now, and him and his buddies get like beat the fuck up by a bunch of goons. And it turns out that they become like a low-level group associated with his gang, him and his buddies, right? That's basically the groundwork.
They're not
laying.
in, but they're like associated with.
Yeah, they hang. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the gang would like ask them to do things, and they would say yes.
They're almost like pledges.
yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, and so like, I guess like Takemichi pieced out of that life. Like that's what we're told. Like in that timeline, he left that world.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You just got the piss beat out of him, basically.
Yeah, and that was him
that
being
was
like,
it.
"Oh, it's not for me." And then his current life, which is the present life, just is shit.
Yeah, he's
Like,
like
it sucks.
a bookstore like worker.
Yeah, he's
his
lonely.
movie
yeah.
rental?
He's
Movie
sad.
rental, yeah.
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 So I don't remember.
Also, never had a girlfriend since that time.
Yeah.
From age 15
Yeah.
to age 26 or
Yeah.
whatever.
just nothing.
Nothing.
He did.
Yeah.
I don't think not only just a girlfriend. I think he just had no life.
No, yeah, he was a recluse,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
right?
Loner.
Yeah, kinda sad.
For sure.
So yeah, I guess like back in the future, I don't know if he travels. He travels a bunch, so I had a hard time keeping track of how many times he traveled in my notes, anyhow. But in the future or present, his old gang like killed his old girlfriend, and so then like in this,
Well, a gang he knew of.
Yeah.
That's right.
Was not his old gang.
he says it as if like,
Hinata.
oh, those guys. Yeah. Anyways, the gang he was somewhat affiliated
Yeah,
with.
they were notorious. for
So
sure.
her brother ends up saving him from the train the second time he almost gets pushed in front of it.
No.
Isn't that what happened? Naoto, like, he's about to get pushed in front of the train. He's like,
No.
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 What the fuck is going on then, man? Tell me.
No. So he gets pushed in front of the train. Time
Yeah.
warps back in time.
Yeah.
And then ends up meeting up with his old girlfriend and
Yeah.
his girlfriend's little brother.
Right,
And then
yeah.
he has a conversation on the swing set with Naoto.
That's right. I remember
And actually spills the beans to Naoto and basically,
Yeah.
basically says, on this day in 12 years,
Yeah.
you and your sister are going to die.
Yeah.
Remember that day.
Yeah.
Protect your sister.
that. Yeah.
Just whatever you do, don't forget. And this kid is like at the prime age.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
into, and they even mentioned he's kind of into like the occult and like weird stuff at that age.
Yeah.
So he totally believes him.
Totally.
Which
Yeah.
is hilarious
That
because
is
it's just
funny.
like, who the fuck's going to believe this guy? I'm from the future.
Well, they wrote plot armor, as to use your
For
term,
sure,
right?
For sure,
Yeah.
right? So then he ends up shaking his hand, just like, let's make a deal. Like, you're going to protect your sister. And
Yeah.
he shakes his hand.
Yeah.
Then it triggers him back. He is still in the same spot on those tracks. The train is about to hit him.
Yeah. And Naoto saves him.
Naoto pulls him
Yeah.
up.
So I wasn't completely wrong. I just
no,
missed
no.
a chunk of important shit.
I think pretty
big
important shit, dude.
man.
It's literally his first time
Yeah.
jump where he figures out that
You're
that's
right.
the mechanism.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't figured that out, that's the mechanism yet. They
He
figured that
does
out later.
immediately
Yeah.
after.
Yeah,
And
pretty
Naruto
quickly.
is that same character that trope where you have the little kid that's way too old for himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Way
Yeah.
too mature.
Way
Yeah.
too mature.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Even as a cop, he's like way too intense.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing is you
Yeah.
find out that conversation Takemichi had with him back in that old timeline
changed his life, yeah.
inspired him to become a police officer.
Yeah. So, anyways, he's a police officer, and he's like, "Hey, I know that what's going on with you because you told me way back when." And then they like are straight grasping at straws to try and figure out how time travel works. And then it's all guessing because they have no fucking idea.
No.
But everything they guess is right,
Yep.
like pretty quickly, right?
Yep.
Like it's the handshake that sends him back. It always sends him back 12 years to the date, right?
Yes.
And so they make this plan. They're going to go back and they're going to get the bosses. They're going to get to the bosses. They need to get Takemichi to the bosses of the gang.
Yeah.
And
He has to meet Manjiro Sano,
Yeah.
which is Mikey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the way they're going to do that is because they don't know. What's up, dude? So because they don't have the timeline yet where Takemichi is involved in the gang, they don't know how they could do that. So they're like, oh, well, you were in that little fight club with that fucking tough asshole who's like kind of the low level gang boss. They're like, you got to just work your way up in that fight club.
Yeah.
Takemichi's like, okay, fine, fuck. So he goes back and risks his life in a knife fight, which is kind of crazy because like if he dies in the past, like he can't help.
Yeah.
But also if he doesn't try in the past, then he can't help. So he does that anyways. And then Mikey and Ken show up and they put that fucking fight club leader in his place. They own that guy. And that's the first time you see the leaders being leaders, right? Because all these guys, you think they're the gangbangers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Kiyomasa is a scary guy. He's smoking that cigarette.
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
this big. First of all, some
Really
like,
imposing.
Yeah.
but-
He's supposed to be 16.
Yeah.
Dude looks 36.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's a little unhinged, and like you're kind of like scared of him a little bit as far as Takemichi goes. And then Mikey just puts him in his fucking place, dude.
Yeah.
Or Draken.
Draken actually
Draken-
gut kicks him.
Yeah.
As Mikey just strolls by.
But it's like it's not even like a good gut punch. He's just like, if you walk into this, it's your own fault.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right?
And so immediately after that scene, Mikey and Takemichi just start bonding out of nowhere. Like he's like, I like you, kid. Kind of is how that goes down. Yeah. And then so Takemichi, now that he's in the past again, starts reconnecting with Hina, his girlfriend. Yep. He's basically just like reliving his youth, but like with the knowledge of the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is kind of what this show's all about. And he goes to grab her hand when he sees her, but like misses and grabs Naoto's hand instead. And he's like, no, like by accident. And so then he's back in the present, and he finds out that by befriending Mikey, he's altered the timeline. So this is like the first real impact of his time travel and changing shit. So his like redheaded homie with the pompadour is
Akun.
now, exactly.
Akun.
He's now the leader of the gang, or like at least super highly ranked.
Yeah, and I love that design of him, of how like
In the future, you mean?
Yeah, and disheveled he is.
Yeah,
The shaved
head,
head,
yeah.
Head and like
The bags under his eyes.
Skinny,
Yeah.
sallow kind of in his face. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So he basically he's all fucked up. And like you said, he looks like it, the way he's talking, and he's like reminiscing with Takemichi, which is kind of like a trigger for him because he's like was so in this world, and now this like element from his past has shown up.
Yeah.
And so he just like spills beans, right? At this point, he pushed Takemichi on the tracks all along.
Yeah.
They kind of forced him to, right? The power structure of Toman is all fucked up. Mikey's AWOL. This mysterious guy Kisaki is in charge. We don't know anything about this guy yet.
Yeah. Kisaki Teta.
Yeah.
Teta.
Piece of shit.
Yeah. Totally.
He is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But sometimes you think maybe not.
No, I hate him as much as I hated fucking what's that dude from Game of Thrones?
Joffrey?
Joffrey, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hate, bro.
Oh, dude, I hate him.
Yeah. That's a lot of hate.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's drastic that's changed is Ken is dead. Draken's dead.
Yeah.
In this timeline.
He
and
was
then,
executed on death row.
yeah. And then Akun jumps.
Yeah.
Just jumps off
That
the
was
building.
a heavy moment.
It's intense. Didn't see that coming. I'll be
Me,
honest
me
with you.
neither, dude.
Yeah, didn't see
that
coming.
floored me. That really floored me.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fuck, this show just went from like here to here real fucking fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was my moment too of like, this is a great show. This is an awesome show.
Yeah.
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 When I first started watching the show, I thought it was going to be just like another standard kind of anime, but like, you know, I thought it was going to be like Initial D, but instead of racing, it's fist fights.
Right.
That's what I thought I was getting myself into.
Sure.
And the Euro beats and
I mean, whatever.
Well,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
Listen,
Yeah.
from a distance, it looks like a battle shonen.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Exactly.
It literally looks like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
It
love
does.
that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're right. This is the moment where you realize, oh, it's not going to be like that. I thought he was just going to keep time traveling and fist fighting.
Yeah.
That was going to be the whole show.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so now that he figures out what's going on, him and Naoto kind of like make this new plan to go back and save the three guys actually, Akun, Draken, and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what the plan specifically was at this point, but also at this point I was like, is this just going to be the whole point of the show? Like he travels to the past, changes the timeline, goes to the future, realizes that it's still not perfect, has to go back, change it, realizes it's still not perfect. It's like a vicious cycle they've created.
Kind of,
right?
yeah. And like the thing is you're right. Like they're going back with very little plan most of the time.
Yeah.
Usually it's just I'm gonna become the head of Toman.
That happens later. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
you're
but like that's generally just the idea. Like work your way up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll figure it out. And then
Yeah.
he'll go back and just kind of be living his life and then life circumstance will kind of present like the light bulb to him to be
Yeah.
like, here it is, Takamichi. Here is your moment, your opportunity. When they realize, oh, like, I got to save Draken. Oh, this fight's coming up. Oh, that must be the fight where Draken dies.
So much of that.
Yeah.
That's why the inner monologue.
He puts it together in the past a lot of the time.
Yeah.
After he's already said bye to Naoto.
Yeah.
It's crazy that he goes in so unprepared so often.
Yeah.
And still manages to pull it off most of the time.
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Well, a little bit, because here's the thing: like they rely on the butterfly effect so much,
Big time.
right? Because every time they go back, they change something small.
Yeah.
He goes back to see how it worked out, then goes back again.
And they never show you the process of those ripples of the butterfly effect. It's
Yeah.
always you see the instance, you skip ahead to the future, and they're like, okay, where did that? What did that do?
Yeah.
What happened? Right.
Yeah.
So this time travel, we get meek Takamichi, kind of like shy, whatever. He wakes up in bed with a hooker.
Not a
No.
hooker.
No,
not
but
a hookup.
you think at that time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Emma.
it's a stranger.
Yeah. And that's funny because that gag keeps happening. Every time he like travels back in time, he ends up in a funny situation, like a
His
bunch of
past
times.
self is just being a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
exactly.
he's not there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
his past self that didn't equal his present self, right? So it's a different past self than he
Yeah.
remembers at the time.
And it
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense too, because his past self would have been that young teenager.
Yeah.
Right. So he would-
Without 26-year-old experience.
Yeah, or maturity,
Exactly,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
So it's great. So of course he was going to get into fucking stupid
Situations.
yeah.
Yeah, like this one with that girl, and he like freaks the fuck out because now he's like an older virgin now, and he runs the fuck out of there,
Yeah.
which is funny. So he finds out there's like a big Tomon meeting occurring, and it's about this other gang called Mobius.
Yeah.
And this other gang is like way more brutal than Tomon. They're like completely unhinged, right? They're like literally like the members of that gang are crazy people.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way they act and the way they talk, they're like a bunch of lunatics.
Also, but was it before or after that you find out that like that girl that was with Takamichi?
That comes later.
Oh, okay, that comes later.
You-
Oh, no, but she was only doing that with him to make Draken jealous.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that right away, but you do find that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very shortly after. They,
Yeah,
they
pretty
literally
quickly
go to
after.
a meeting and Takamichi shows up and sees her there and he's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, because he's with Hina.
Yeah. That's another funny gag that makes me laugh. He keeps getting caught with this girl, Emma, not actually even doing shit half of the time. And he will just walk in and be like,
Excuse me, you're
what?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a one
Yeah.
point later where like Hina and Emma are like kind of friends and they're
Yeah.
like together making fun of Takamichi. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, but
It's
this
so
is why
good.
I love Draken so much, because he sees how hard Emma's like working,
Yeah.
and trying to like get this guy to either be jealous or like fall in love with
Yeah.
her, but like he's
doesn't
just
give
so
a shit.
He doesn't. He's so unfazed because he lives in a fucking
Yeah.
red light district house,
Totally.
right?
100%. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of thought process going on about how the gang is going to end up deteriorating.
Yeah.
And he kind of figures Mikey and Ken are never going to fight, and the other gang must be behind all the future murders because there's like, I guess at this point, someone tells him, or he gets in the idea that it's Mikey and Draken who like fall out of friendship that causes the gang to fall apart
Yeah.
and causes the murders and causes things to go to shit.
Yeah, like basically the only way Mikey would ever go evil is if he didn't have Draken there to like.
Yeah. And I think
Level him
I
out.
think Akun is the one who tells him that.
Okay.
Mikey,
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's what happens.
You're right on the roof.
And
Yeah.
now he's back in time and he's like, that just can't be the case. These guys are too close friends and there's this
Yeah.
other crazy gang. It's got to be this crazy gang. So, yeah, and then we end up in the present again, another time jump, like pretty quickly. Like nothing really occurs this time in the past. He just like sees that meeting. And the Mobius leader shows up in the future. Like he meets that guy and he's
Yeah.
all fucked up. Twisted as shit.
So fucked. Like a shade of his previous self.
Totally.
Osanai was his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he says, all fucked up. He's like, oh, it was all Kisaki. But he keeps referring to him as this like ghost, this like imposing ghost. It was his plan.
Yeah.
Kisaki, he always, you know what I mean? He's
Always
like,
pulling the strings. behind
exactly,
it.
yeah. And what he says is Kisaki was trying to create a rift in Toman. That was his goal from the beginning, was to
Yeah.
split up Toman. So then, yeah, Takamichi tries to lobby. I guess we're back in the past again. Again, so many time jumps. But he's trying to lobby to call off the big fight with Mobius. He's like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's all going to go badly. And everyone's like, who is this kid? Like, why are we even listening to what this kid is saying? And then it turns out the whole meeting was an ambush.
Yep.
And this is where Ken was supposed to have died in this battle here, right? And it's like a big fight over the rival gang supposedly like harassing and raping the girlfriend and family members or whatever of a Toman dude. I forget which one.
Pachin? Wait.
Yeah,
sorry,
Bach-
Pa or Pe?
Pa.
No.
Pa.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Pachin.
Okay. And then this dude gets stabbed dead,
Yeah.
like the raper guy.
Yeah, Pachin stabs the guy,
Yeah.
the Mobius guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
It's how they deal with that.
Yeah.
That causes the
Exactly.
rift because Mikey wants Pachin to run.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Pachin wants to turn himself in, and Draken's like, let Pachin do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to turn himself in, Mikey. Let him. And Mikey's like, no, like, run. Like, we can't just let him do that. Like,
Yeah.
we have to protect him. And
Yeah.
Draken's
Yeah.
like, let him do what he fucking wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's his own man.
Yeah.
You know?
The other thing that happens in this fight is Draken doesn't die. Mikey interferes and kind of like saves him in that
Yeah.
scene. So I don't know how exactly that occurred. It just did. You know what I mean?
This is what I'm saying to their character, right? Mikey is such a selfish person.
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day.
I mean, without Draken, yes.
Yes, right?
Draken grounds him.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. That's true. And then after the fight, Takemichi's like in the hospital, and it looks like he's getting beach from Emma.
Yeah.
And Hina walks in.
Yeah.
That's fucking the best, dude. Yeah. So funny, man. He keeps getting in trouble doing nothing.
Yeah.
That was great. So then basically we're like led to believe like, oh, everything's good now.
Yeah.
But Buddy went to jail.
Yep.
Who turned himself in.
Yep.
And we're pretty sure he stopped the murders. And then we get your standard cultural festival scene, which of course you have
Yes.
to have. And at this point, Takemichi makes a weird call where he decides just to chill in the past for a bit. He's like, everything's good, but like, it's kind of nice back here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
It's
hang
better
out for
than
a
my
bit.
other life.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like he's working towards being better,
Yeah.
and he's growing. And so, like, I'm not gonna lie. If I was in that situation, I would probably want to relive some of those cool moments if I can make them better.
Yeah, and like Jay said too, his present self is such a shit life. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna hang out back there too, where like I have
Yeah.
friends and I have a girlfriend.
Yeah, and it's not like he's just rehashing his old life. This
Yeah.
is all brand new experience for him
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that past timeline because
Yeah.
he's never gone this deep with this gang before.
Totally.
None
Yeah.
of this has ever happened. It's
Yeah.
all new.
Yeah.
Or taking all
It's a
those
new
missed
life.
opportunities that right? Like,
Yeah.
so nice.
Good times.
Good for you, Takamichi.
Good times
Good
until
for you.
until he runs into the fucking Fight Club leader dude who got it put in his place by Mikey and Draken.
Oh yeah.
Who basically says like, "Oh, that ambush was actually all me. I set up that coup," and he ties Takemichi up and like beats the shit out of him. And then Hina walks in and finds him. I don't remember why they left him. They left him behind, all tied up. Like they don't beat him up.
Yeah. It's just I guess to keep him out of the way to
Yeah.
not warn anybody.
It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter. But
yeah.
then when Hina finds him, they have like the most awkward kiss ever.
That was awkward. I thought it was kind of sweet.
It was so awkward, dude. I mean, it was sweet that it occurred, but like the visuals of it, I was like, oh,
I thought it was like
It's a-
perfect for them.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're such an awkward couple.
You're right, yeah.
Teenage,
You're right.
Teenagers,
But then you also have to remember that that's a grown ass man in that kid's body.
That always comes up in my brain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 26-year-old brain
And
kissing a little 15-year-old. It's problematic.
And then when you switch back to the other show we related this to, Erased, he constantly is like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
You're,
He catches
you're a
himself.
grown man.
Then
Yeah.
again, they were going back to like age 9.
True. In this
Yeah.
show, he's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you find yourself in a situation.
okay, are you okay? Let's talk about this for a quick second here. Let's be
Sure.
real. So if you went back and you time jumped, like your brain just went back to your 16-year-old self,
Yeah.
are you saying that you wouldn't try to be 16 again?
I'm saying I would definitely have to think about it.
It's weird.
It wouldn't be
It's
a
money.
cut and dry decision. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just be like, yep, yep,
Yeah.
everything. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it all.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be pausing probably
Yeah.
several times to be
And-
like, wait a second.
And to be fair to our boy Takemichi, you might find yourself getting caught up in the situation and end up in that kiss and halfway through it maybe being like, oh shit, wait a minute.
This is wrong.
Yeah, something's fucked up about this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is it fucked up because your
Yeah.
brain is like that, or is because your body is
Yeah.
a 16-year-old?
But you know what you know as an older person. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That power dynamic is
Yeah.
way off.
Yeah.
Regardless of
Yeah.
what body you're in.
It's not cool.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so we find out that even though Draken was saved, there's still a plot to kill him.
Yeah.
That hasn't gone away. And the who's planning it, the what's going to go down is so complicated because everyone's just trying to think and figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At one point, they're like, oh, it was the stabby dude and the other gang are going to do it together, right? Like the stabby dude's mad that he went to jail or something and Mikey didn't, I don't know, something like that. They're like, it was probably him. At one point, they're like, it was Mobius leader is going to do it. At one point, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of time
Everybody's
spent.
questioning
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
And that's fucking me up because I'm already having a hard time keeping up. and all these like potential situations. Like, okay, that's it. No, okay, that's it.
But I think that like it maybe didn't work to the exact effect they wanted, but I think that in that situation that was on purpose. They wanted you to be like confused as all the members of Toman are in that moment, being like, "Who the fuck is doing this?"
I was definitely confused, very confused. Okay, so then Toman shows up and they have this huge brawl with Mobius.
Yeah,
massive fight. And at this, honestly, this is the best fist fight in the show.
Yeah,
by far.
Yeah,
I needed it because at first, like I said, I thought I was going to be watching a fist fight show, and I wasn't getting any. And then I got a really good one. I was like, "Fuck yeah, okay, yeah, this is great."
You also get introduced in that fight to an important character in Hanma, which is the tall guy with the tattoos on his hands.
Okay, yeah. Who is not the leader? Is he the leader?
At that time,
he's not.
He's leading a gang called Valhalla,
right? Yes.
Who is working with Mobius at the time.
And eventually, and that was confusing too because eventually, Mobius just goes away.
They dissolve,
and it's just Valhalla.
Into Valhalla,
yeah, but they don't. I don't feel like that didn't get explained well, and I was just a little confused.
I think that just like a gang thing that happens a lot of the times in those types of gangs. Is there's a lot of dissolving. And
amalgamating.
Yeah, they're always fracturing and then combining all the time.
It also took me way too fucking long to figure out that Tokyo Manji was Toman.
Yeah.
I was like, is there two gangs? Are they like a subsidiary of the other gang? And then I was watching with the subtitles and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Tokyo, Manji, Man. It's Toman.
Same thing happened to me when I watched Sons of Anarchy.
Okay, yeah.
Who the fuck is Sam Crow?
Yeah. Yeah.
Until I'm like,
same exact.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same exact. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Also, the Tokyo Manji gang.
Yeah.
His name is Manjiro Sano.
Oh, interesting.
So he basically named the gang after himself.
Yeah.
He really
the
has
Tokyo Mikey gang.
He kind of has a Jesus vibe.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because Christians are Christ.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Right? They're just naming their gangs after themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very egocentric.
But also
as you've stated, yeah.
But also that's the swastika they use is called the Manji swastika as well. So that's also part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm senpai.
You are senpai.
You are and always will be in this show anyhow. Okay, so we're in this fist fight. Draken gets, we think, dead by the other leader, the tattoo hen guy.
Yeah.
Turns out not dead. Takemichi saves him, and they like are running away, and they like have to fight the Fight Club Dick, right? And Takemichi gets stabbed in the hand. And takes a.
That was a crazy.
That
scene,
was
dude.
crazy, man.
He puts his hand out, and I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen right now?
And this is
straight through the hand,
Yeah.
dude. And Takemichi reacts the way I think anybody would.
Yeah.
He just starts screaming in agony.
Yeah. It was perfect. But what I liked about this scene is this is the first time you really see Takemichi being like, well, I'm all fucking in at this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is my gang.
Yeah. If I die here, I die.
Yeah, exactly. Because he literally does that. Him and Draken have that conversation. They're like, listen, this is not going to end well for us.
Yeah.
But what's the option? He's like, I can't run. And you've already said you're not going to leave me. So what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're right. What are we doing here? Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I was like, that
Awesome
was sick.
moment.
Yeah. And so that in that moment, Takemichi and Draken get a real bonding moment that they didn't have before, which is important because the two of them are really, like we've said, the two main characters.
Yeah.
They drive the show.
And it's nice because it really solidifies their loyalty to one another.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's so fucking good.
It's great. And so instead of dying, the fucking Ferocious Five shows up, which is the funniest. His group of young homies who were nobodies show up and save the day and like really prove themselves in the eyes of Toman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was sick to be. And they turned out to be a dope little crew. I kind of like their vibe.
I like them too, man.
Yeah. I like their vibe.
Yeah.
So Draken still might be dying. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like, oh, he's dead. Oh, no, wait. Oh, no, he's dying. Oh, no, wait. And there's like a huge gang of like beaten up people in the hospital, just beating the fuck up people and no cops. No one asking any questions.
So little police activity in this whole show.
Yeah.
Aside from Naoto.
And here's something I found kind of interesting that to me felt a little bit of a disconnect. So they give Pe a pass for trying to kill Draken. Do you know what I mean? They're just like, honestly, just apologize and you're good. And I'm like, but in this show, like they're fucking people up for way less.
Yeah.
Like, why do they let that go? He literally tried to murder
He didn't though.
One of the gang leaders.
No, he didn't because he set some things in motion a little bit by doing what he did. Right. It wasn't intentional on Pachin's part to cause that divide. Right. It actually got away from him.
But intentions is not
because there were members of the gang who were fighting for Pachin when Pachin didn't ask them to.
Yeah,
I hear you.
They addressed that. They're like, Pachin is cool. Everything's cool, but these guys are extremists and cannot accept what Draken or what Mikey did.
Yeah.
So they're think of them as extremists.
It's like Ryohei, like almost goes to the other team. I think that's what his name, Ryohei.
Which guy is that?
The guy that was like Pachin's best friend and like couldn't accept it.
Oh yeah, Hayashi. Okay,
Hayashi,
yeah. Sorry, I don't know his other name. Yeah,
There's so many names, dude.
Yeah. No,
but I remember that too. Actually, you're right. It just seems strange to me.
So Pachin doesn't have to take responsibility for that because those are extremists.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, keep in mind, Pachin's a founding member of Toman.
Yeah.
He's one of the original guys.
Yeah.
So he does get a pass on things that other members might not.
It just seems strange for a gang that has a reputation of being tough and like being scary to let anyone have a pass for that kind of like pretty much treason. You know what I mean? Like he pretty much brought the other gang upon them.
Who did?
Pe or whatever his name is.
He never did that.
What do you mean?
He never orchestrated anything.
Who did then?
People that were loyal to him, people that were trying to like back him up and fight for him on their own accord because of their own feelings.
Okay.
When Pa was like, it's like somebody defending your honor when you never asked them to, but killing the guy. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? I never even asked you to stick up for me and you're killing the guy?
Yeah.
That's Pachin.
Okay. All right, well, I was wrong. I was confused. I don't know. There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's move through the plot a little more. So we're after the huge brawl. Takemichi's still in the past, but now he's like hot shit. He thinks he's fucking the best.
Cool guy, yeah.
And then Mikey gives him his old uniform. Draken gives him like a heartfelt thanks, which like felt like big moves from both of those guys. You know what I mean? So yeah, then Takemichi once again is like, well, I'm done back here. I did it.
Well, you also get that scene where like Mikey's breaking down, which is heavy.
Yeah, you get a couple of scenes, that emotional scenes with him with his eyes, dude. He's got those eyes, and they well up with tears.
Yeah, it's like he's either dead in his eyes or he's actually like feeling something.
Yeah,
it's never like in between.
That's really true. So Takemichi, like I said, thinks he's done. He goes back to the future again, and for some reason this time he wakes up and he goes, "Oh, was it all just a dream?" I'm like, you've done this 6 times before. Why this time do you feel like it was just a dream? You know what I mean? A little confusing. Yeah. And then there's like a massive fast-paced recap of like what went down, which was kind of nice because I didn't remember shit. And they give it all to you, which I was like, okay, I'm sick of the inner monologue driving the plot. But at this point, I was like, I did need that because I had no fucking idea what was going on. So future Takemichi, now Hina's not dead, but they still broke up in the past. And I'm like, why did they break up? We still don't know that.
Yeah.
And we never get to actually find that out. And then she's dead again.
Yep.
Because they're like hanging out, which is also weird that like he would just go seek her out for some random reason in the future, and they would just have this nice interaction. And I'm like, but you broke up, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we do find out why.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, we do.
I forgot. We'll probably get to that.
Yeah.
So she dies in this crazy fucking horrific car accident scene. And once again, it's Akun.
Yeah,
Akun's driving.
Akun's driving.
So there's a moment leading up to that gave me fucking goosebumps. That was really impactful because they're out on a cute little date, and he runs off to go to the bathroom, and he leaves her. And at that moment, all I was going through my head was just like, this dumb motherfucker just left her alone.
Yeah,
idiot.
Yeah,
and then he gets back to the bathroom, and who walks in but a fucking really swaggy, done up adult Hanma.
Yeah.
Walks in and is all confused, and he's just like, wait a second. This isn't any fun if you're not in the car too.
Yeah.
And
I forgot
it
about
just
that.
says that.
Yeah.
And then Takemichi's like, oh my fucking God, and starts running back. Dude, my heart was fucking exploding out of my chest at this moment. I'm like, this motherfucker better get back in time.
Obviously, he's not going to, though.
No.
Gets back just in time to watch it happen.
Yeah.
And then that scene was just so fucked, man.
Yeah.
That was so goddamn emotional, dude.
Yeah.
He's fucking crying over her fucking... stuck, impaled, dying body, and has to just watch her get blown to smithereens, man.
It was crazy. And this was where he dropped the line, which actually kind of made me laugh. In the midst of tears and screaming, he goes, I'm going to be the leader of Toman.
Yeah, but this is where he gets his resolve. He could have either broken down.
I agree.
And like
Yeah.
It was just presented in a silly way.
It was kind of goofy
to me.
but
yeah.
that's Takamichi.
But that's
man.
that's Takamichi.
Yeah.
That's his character.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was kind of fucked up. What I liked about that too is there's this sense in some time travel storylines where the future is persistent, where like you can go back and change some shit, but like it's really hard to actually change some shit. So he's trying to keep people from dying, and he keeps showing up in the present and being like, I changed it, but it still occurred. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I kind of like as a concept. It
Well,
makes it
I
hard.
think that's another type of paradox, right? Where it's like the destiny paradox or something.
It's
like
Final
that.
Destination.
Yeah, final. It's exactly Final Destination. It's supposed to happen no matter what.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So I
Do we
appreciate
really
that.
have free will?
Nope. No, I don't, because all I do is watch what you guys tell me to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Shweebs, what other fucked up animes would we make Jordy
Yeah.
watch? Let us know in the comments.
Crazy. Okay, so where the fuck are we? Okay, we'll go to the past again, okay?
Yeah.
Finally, we meet Kiseki. He's poached from Mobius to Tomon. They, like, poach him, which is already kind of sketchy, because, like, maybe, like, don't ever bring like opposing gang members into your gang.
I felt the
Yeah.
same way. I felt icky about it every time they did it.
Yeah.
They did it a lot.
Like, you're smarter than that.
I know,
You
but
should be.
they also mentioned several times, they address it, that like
Yeah.
they're desperate for numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they bring him in, and immediately Takamichi, still a nobody in Tomon, just runs up and punches him in the face.
Yeah.
And people are losing their shit about it. They're like, Takamichi, what the fuck are you doing? Mikey's yelling at him.
Yeah.
Everyone's screaming at him.
It's bad.
Yeah.
He just did a bad thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that's what you get killed for in gangs. You know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stepping out of line and shit like that.
And then
Yeah.
in walks my fucking guy
I was just about to say,
Yes.
to do the secretly most bro thing
yeah.
that he could have possibly done in that moment.
What did he do?
Baji steps up and absolutely smashes Takamichi in the
Oh
face.
yeah, yeah.
Because I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, that was probably the only thing that kept him from getting killed.
Probably
Oh, yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Baji did that as mercy.
But
for
you only know
Takamichi.
that as an afterthought, because in
You
this
find that
moment,
out later.
Because
Yeah, yeah.
here, what you find out is that Baji is actually jumping ship the opposite way.
He's a
Yeah.
loose ball.
He's like, I'm leaving Tomon, and I'm joining Mobius. So fuck all y'all.
Valhalla.
Yeah,
At this
Valhalla.
point, I didn't know
The
who what was
headless,
who.
yeah.
And Kiseki at this point, it shows his true colors, because he's like seems kind of stoked that Tomon's all fucked up. He's got like a little shit-eating grin.
a little smirk.
I'm like, go
Yeah.
fuck yourself, you bitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mikey then tasks Takamichi, who's still not a member, to go get Baji and bring him back. I'm like, what? This guy's gonna do it? He's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Prove yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no skin off Mikey's back to just send this guy off on this mission. If
Yeah.
he fucking accomplishes it, okay. If not, I'll just kill him.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly it, dude. That's exactly it. Because the stakes are so high for him, man.
Yeah.
The stakes are so high, dude. And this is
shit.
part of the reason why I found there was like a weird disconnect with Pat. Now I know, like, I'm probably saying his name wrong.
Pa.
Okay,
yeah.
so I know that
Pa
he's
Chin.
like
His,
one of
his
the.
friend was Pei Yan.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's Pa Chin.
Okay.
So
Chin.
Pa Chin.
I'll never get it.
That's okay.
So I know that Pa was like a founding member, and so like it's
Yeah.
different for him. But like the fact that they'll kill Mikey, or they'll kill Takamichi for just not getting Baji back, and let Pa have a pass. But then I guess you explained to me like he didn't really do anything bad.
No, and he's also he's also a founding member. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way Takamichi, as much as they seem to like Takamichi
Yeah.
in some weird way,
Yeah.
he's not on the level of Pachin. Like,
I guess what I'm trying to say is I found some disconnect between how brutal they wanted you to believe they am, and then how kind they were sometimes at other times.
I think it displays the differences of where you are in the gang.
Yeah.
Shows how you're treated in the gang. And I'm sure there were huge disparities between high-ranking people and
Yeah.
low-rank. Probably seemed like the fucking birthday party club
Yeah.
in the higher ranks.
Yeah,
But to the
probably.
lower ranks, they're just getting fucking stepped on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, not to mention, like, they're all biased to a degree, right? Like, Mikey's just like, yo, hey, I like you, Takamichi. You're a nobody, but I like you, so I'm just going to treat you a little bit better than the other foot
That's true,
soldiers.
too.
But then he
Right,
also
like-
threatens to kill him if he
Yeah,
fails.
Yeah.
but that's
So-
but that's the thing.
Go back and
right?
forth.
Like isn't that like on par with being I don't know, a mobster, mafia? Like you can
Yeah.
do things on a whim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I would totally be like that. Like I'll do whatever the fuck I want, however I'm feeling.
You're right.
Like, you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
eat this fucking
No
chocolate
one,
bar.
no one fucks with him, to be honest with you. Sorry, you're going to do whatever you want and you choose chocolate bar?
yeah.
Okay. You know you can do that now.
Yeah. It's what came to my mind, all right?
All right. We'll get you chocolate after this.
Let's keep
Sweet.
trucking.
Okay,
Let's
so
keep trucking.
so we find the picture of the founding members, and there's so many Sons of Anarchy like parallels, and this picture was one of them too, because I think there's a scene in that show too where he finds like pictures and shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get more inner monologue, and we get this backstory for how Toman was started, right? And then, so the origin story is like Mikey kind of like sucks at being a gangster, but he can kick, and so people follow him. That's kind of how they started. And they go to the beach and they find this other gang and they beat the fuck out of that other gang. And then they go to the motorcycle shop because now they're like, okay, well, I guess we're a gang now. We should get motorcycles and do some gang shit. And so they send some of them to this motorcycle shop to steal the bike.
No, this is a plan entirely thought up by Kazutora.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kazutora and
He wanted
and
to
Baji.
wanted to get Mikey's brother a motorcycle.
Right.
For his birthday.
Yeah.
And they decided that we're going to just go steal it because
From this motorcycle.
because Kazutora saw a really nice one in the window of the motorcycle
No, it
shop.
wasn't his. So it wasn't getting his brother a motorcycle. It
was getting Mikey
a motorcycle.
Sorry, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, because Mikey had that shitty little thing.
The little scooter.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's another great scene as well where it's expands Baji's character because Baji was tasked with taking Mikey's bike to go get gas.
Yeah.
And he gets ambushed by that gang that they had just beat up.
Yeah.
And Baji puts himself between him, like the gang and Mikey's scooter, protects it with his life.
That's right.
Mikey shows up and sees what happened, destroys his scooter
I forgot.
completely, and then fucks these guys up and is just like, you guys actually thought I cared about the fucking scooter after what you just did to my best friend?
Yeah.
And it was just like such an awesome fucking bro moment for those characters, man. Like,
There's something about camaraderie and like loyalty to one another that just like hits.
Yeah.
it's a great scene.
It's because you wish you had more of it.
That just made me so sad.
So anyways, so we're back and Kazutora and Baji are out on this mission to steal a motorcycle.
And it turns out that the motorcycle shop is actually owned by Mikey's brother, and they get caught in the act.
Yeah.
And
By him,
and they murder him.
Yeah.
Kazutora
Murders him.
him.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't. Baji
And-
does nothing.
And when he realizes, you see a switch flip in him.
Yeah.
He goes crazy.
Absolutely
Immediately.
loses his mind.
Yeah, immediately.
Yes, he is broken from that point on, and then
His
he
response
starts
is-
muttering to himself, "This didn't happen. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
This is Mikey's fault."
It's Mikey's fault. And then also, I got to kill Mikey now.
Yeah.
That's literally like his craziness manifests in that sentence.
Yeah.
It's Mikey's fault, and now I got to kill
we
him.
did this for Mikey, so therefore it's his fault.
Yeah.
It can't be my fault.
Totally.
And as despicable a trait as that is, what a fucking human trait.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Not
the way that
taking accountability.
it doesn't make me like Kazutora more, but it makes me like the way his character was written so much more because it's so human and so real to me.
Yeah,
you know?
but I mean, and that's the thing, right? Because he loves Mikey so much. It's when you're feeling all those crazy emotions, right, and loyalty to someone, it makes things so much more complicated.
He broke, dude.
Right? Yeah,
He broke.
Like, you can't. You, like, how do you process that?
and Baji as well is definitely fucked up by this whole event. And then as they're being walked out to the police cars, Mikey shows up and says, "What happened?" And then Baji just looks over with tears bawling out of his eyes, and he just says, "I'm sorry, Mikey." And they walk away.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Crazy.
Holy shit, dude.
There's a couple of scenes in the show that get you, man. Couple.
That one was fucked
Yeah.
up, man.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back because we got to breeze through a couple more things before we close out here. So we're back in the past now, and we can't be sure whose side anyone's on. There's a lot of that going on, right? Toman says Baji is spying on Valhalla, but it doesn't seem that way. Kisaki obviously is linked with Valhalla, and then at one point they're like, he might actually be their leader while being a member of Toman. Like,
Well, you don't know who Valhalla's leader really is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hanma's acting as it, but nobody actually knows, right?
Exactly.
And then you also get introduced to Chifuyu in that scene in the Valhalla
Yeah.
base where Baji is beating the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And then Chifuyu has a conversation with
Takemichi, and they
on the
team up.
swings
They team up.
afterwards, and he explains what's going on.
yeah.
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 And also in the future, Draken explain because he's on death row and they go to visit him, and he
Yes.
explains some shit that like Mikey actually killed the dude who killed his brother,
Yeah.
and Baji died too in that timeline, and then Valhalla and Toman somehow merge, which is how you get that crazy gang of the future, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we can skip over now to the fucking bloody Halloween, I'd say.
Yeah, well, another thing that you kind of find out is that Valhalla was actually created
By Mikey.
By Mikey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like what?
That was the twist. I was like, how do you not mention that twist?
It was.
They saved it.
It was. And well, I mean, it was. Yeah, like well, no, it wasn't Mikey. It was created for Mikey.
Right.
Yes.
Kisaki created Valhalla.
Right, but he created
For
it
Mikey.
but like with ulterior motives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it was supposed to be like a gang for and led by Mikey.
That was the front, but
Yeah.
the real reason he did that on purpose to try and create the rift in Tomon.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
to create this false sense of connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't really there.
Yeah. Okay, so Bloody Halloween, right? There's a bunch of like gangster spectators who are like supposed to be like the biggest gangsters sitting
Man,
around.
no.
Yeah. And you're
The
getting
little hints that you're getting to characters in that scene, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, man.
They're building up hype like crazy.
Yeah, a lot of foreshadow
Yeah.
there for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and so there's this like posturing that starts, and this one guy from one of the gangs is like, "Okay, we're gonna have a fair fight, whatever." And
Yeah,
people are like,
we're
"Get this guy
refereeing."
the fuck out of here!"
Yeah.
And then they start fighting.
Yeah.
So now the goal here,
yeah.
right, is to stop Mikey or to stop Baji
Yeah.
from being killed by Kazutora.
Right.
Yeah.
And then stop, if that does happen,
Stop Mikey
from killing Kazutora.
Right.
Yeah.
So it starts off and Mikey's getting fucked up, repeatedly beaten in the face with a metal pipe, which is like, you're a dead person.
The
man.
amount of metal pipes
Yeah.
used in this show that
Yeah.
don't result in instant death.
Yeah.
If it's not the first one, it's definitely the second
Oh
one.
yeah, to the
yeah.
face, dude, to the head, dead. And then somehow Mikey makes a comeback, and he also like now has like some sort of superhuman strength. Like he's like comes back stronger than ever.
He's
after-
a Saiyan.
Yeah, I
he
guess
is.
so. He's blonde. He might be, dude. And at this point, when Mikey comes back, like all of Valhalla now starts rushing because they're like on a pile of garbage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of Valhalla starts rushing towards him. And a bunch of shit happens real fast. So Takemichi seems to be the only one of this whole crew that knows Kisaki's bad news.
Yeah.
Nobody else suspects it, which is like, you know.
I know.
Yeah. And then Baji smokes Kisaki out of nowhere.
I loved that, dude.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. You didn't
Love
see that
that.
coming either, right?
He just comes right from behind him and again
Yeah.
with a metal pipe
Yeah.
to the side of the head,
Yeah.
point blank.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. Metal pipe.
So
dude.
violent, dude.
And then the result of that is they didn't stop that death from happening because Baji gets a stabby stab.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Stabby McStabster.
Hanma and Kisaki basically convinced Kazutora to stab Baji.
Yeah.
As planned.
Yeah.
And it seems as though it happens, but Baji kind of brushes it off, and it's just like
Yeah,
it's just
there's
a scratch.
like a fake out.
It's just
right?
a scratch.
Yeah.
It's all good. And then
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm gonna go take care of this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes and takes care of business.
Yeah.
But then
Then he comes back,
collapses.
Yeah.
collapses, and he's like, oh no, he's dead. And then he's still not dead. There's like another fake out. It's like the endings of Lord of the Rings here. It keeps fading to black. Like, oh no, just kidding.
just kidding.
And then in the end, it's a Supaku or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He knows that Kazutora taking the blame for his death is going to cause more problems than it's
Yeah.
worth.
Yeah.
He needs to take this into his own hands and
Yeah.
absolve Kazutora of the guilt and the blame
Right.
and seppuku.
Yeah.
Like a fucking boss, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
he
my
is
god. man.
the boss.
A seppuku, dude?
Yeah. Crazy dude.
Dude, the sheer will. Not only that, like his intellect to like foresee like all the
know.
fucked up
Yeah.
conspiracy and then go after and do it himself and protect all his friends and to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Man.
Well, I also think that like that scene where Mikey's brother dies, like he was mentally preparing for death from then. You know what I mean? At that point, he's like,
My life is over.
I'm done. Yeah.
My life is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was just the culmination of that.
Yeah. And Shifuyu is right there with him.
Yeah.
By his side, who, I mean, the contrast you're seeing there from getting Shifuyu's face pounded in by Baji
Yeah.
ruthlessly till
Totally.
he can't even
Yeah.
recognize him,
Yeah.
to him being the one with him in his dying
Yeah.
moments was so impactful for me.
Absolutely.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it turns out that the truth of it was Baji was always kind of spying. He was never really
course.
jumped ship, right?
Yeah.
And Shifuyu knew all along.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's where you like really get the feeling of that.
well, it's funny, but Chifuyu knew all along in the back of his head, but Baji didn't even tell Chifuyu.
There's
that
always
he-
doubt,
yeah.
and that's why the show is
Yeah.
a little confusing for me because
Yeah.
I was like, "You're not giving me any reason to believe one thing or the other," but it's
Yeah.
on purpose for these moments when
Yeah.
you really find out.
And you find out the faith that these characters have in each other, that
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
need to expressly say. It's trust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shifuyu trusted Baji
yeah,
explicitly.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Okay, so after the Bloody Halloween, we get like not Draken's backstory, but Draken's like behind the scenes story. He still lives in the brothel. He's just their errand boy
Yeah.
while like being a top member of this crazy gang, which is kind of funny.
Did you pick up on the one line where one of the ladies at the brothel asks him if he wants her to give him a little rub down before he
I
heads
missed
out
that
for the day?
but that's funny.
At 15 years old,
Yeah.
she's like, hey Ken, like you want me to give you a little rub off
Yeah.
before you head out? And he's just like, no.
He probably
Keeps
gets all suffered that on a daily basis.
all the time,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm just like, he's like 15.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look it, but like still, Jesus Christ.
That's fucking hilarious.
But
too.
also like the reality of a kid growing up in a fucking brothel. Like,
brothel.
that's
Yeah.
what it would be like.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%, especially when you get to 15 and you look like that.
And
Yeah.
and Wakui, the mangaka, probably knew people
Oh,
that
sure.
lived in brothels.
Yeah, and they probably didn't say no to the rub downs at 15.
Gross.
Yeah. Okay, so you also find out that Emma was Mikey's sister all along.
In a very comedic scene.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a funny little throwaway episode for the end of a season, right?
Yeah.
They go the like young kids go into detective mode. They're
Yeah, because Mikey and Emma are out
Yeah.
on a date,
Yeah.
and Takamichi's just like, "Oh my god, this is gonna break up
It's gonna,
Toman."
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kind of funny.
Yeah, and then you find
Yeah.
out Mikey and Emma are siblings.
Okay, and so then we get the final scene of the show where we're now back in the present. And-
With G'd up Takamichi.
Yeah, oh my
Yeah,
god.
dude.
Yeah, when he's
He looks
all,
crazy, yeah.
like greasy.
And also, no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah.
He's like in the back of a car or something.
So this is the weird one for me, okay?
Yeah.
Because this one is a little bit of a contradiction to some of the rules that they had set up previously, okay?
Yeah.
Because when he's in the past, he's supposed to be basically in a coma-like state.
Yeah,
Why is he in the back of this limo?
Yeah.
All dressed,
Yeah.
going somewhere.
that's a good point.
He should be in a coma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, the memories should have flooded in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And merged in his
Yeah.
in the past self, but he doesn't have that. He's lost in that moment.
Yeah.
So there's a few contradictions going on.
True,
there.
good point.
But it also starts.
I didn't even catch those. I wish I did.
It
'cause
also,
I
but
could've-
it also starts to introduce this idea that are these rules strict?
that hurts me. They need to be.
No, they don't.
They
Or
need to be.
or
No, they don't.
are there mechanisms that maybe we're not seeing at play that could maybe change those rules or alter the parameters? You know,
I
what
don't
mean?
like when I
like-
am made to feel like a fool.
like I'm just saying, like 12 years
Yeah.
might be the time jump between Takamichi and Naoto.
Yeah.
But what if there's another way for them to time jump that isn't 12 years?
Yeah. Well, the other thing too.
no thanks.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
please.
Yes,
It's too
yes.
much. It's too much.
Because you can introduce that because they only have experienced a handful of time jumps.
Yeah.
Right. They only figured out shaking the hand is what is the trigger.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have it mastered.
They don't know everything.
They don't
It's
know
true.
everything. They
You're
don't
right.
know. Like they're just flying by the seat of their pants. Right.
I just don't have high hopes that they're going to explain it well. Do you know what I mean? That when they do
Sometimes-
come out with it, it's going to be shitty.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
I will say, like, this isn't spoilers or anything. The manga continues to be it's a character study. It continues to be.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, it
That's
continues to be a character
Part
study.
of me actually thought that there would have been a way to write this show without the time travel element that maybe would have been a little more enjoyable and a little less confusing, a little more pure. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It muddied it up a little bit.
I liked it, but you're right. I don't know if I needed it.
Yeah.
I would have been okay just following this story.
That's what I'm saying.
In the past timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's
Take
true
me along
too.
for the ride. I want to
Take
see
you-
it.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like Hinata. She's a cute little element.
Hina, yeah, she's
Yeah,
cutie.
she's cute.
She's
Yeah.
a cutie.
Okay, so let's finish it off. So we're in the present. Takamichi is G'd the fuck up, as Jay put it. And he's like a top exec at Tomen now, we find out. Toman.
Yes,
And there's this huge meeting, and all these like top execs are like all these like crazy gangsters are sitting at this table.
Another scene that has
Yeah.
a lot of characters that
Yeah.
are huge characters that you don't even know yet.
Some of them you do know though, which
Yep.
is kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
like a mixed match of
Yeah.
like people he rose to power. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, right? And they talk about how there's a Judas in Toman. There's someone who's betraying them, and they don't know who it is. And then obviously Kisaki walks in,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "Why are you here? You're way bigger than this meeting."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I just sometimes I like to, make an appearance or whatever." And you're like, something's up
Something's
here.
up.
But then he pulls this move where everyone leaves, and he has Takamichi and Shifuyu stay back, and he's like, "Do you guys hate me? Like, let's have a drink."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let's-
I know shit went
Let's
down
bury the
crazy back
hatchet.
then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they start drinking and they get hammered and then like it gets
Drugged.
crazy. They
They
get
realize
drugged.
they're getting
Yeah.
Yeah. They wake up tied up to chairs. And he's like super unhinged. You know what I mean? Crazy. And he ends up killing Chifuyu.
Point blank.
Yeah.
Pow.
Pop.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
find out before that we find out that Draken still ended up executed.
Yeah.
Right? And then Chifuyu also gets executed. And here's your cliffhanger, right? Because Kisaki with his single tear, he's like sad about it. And you're like, what's happening here? Like, what's going on?
And calls him his crybaby hero.
Yeah.
And then
So then you're like,
fires the gun, cut to black.
yeah.
Yeah.
See you next
The
season.
end, yeah.
See you next
Yeah.
season, baby.
So what do you think happened? You know.
Well, he
I know.
knows. He knows
Okay,
exactly what
Jay,
happened.
Cover your face. What do you think happened?
Oh man, I think that there's a he doesn't actually die.
Yeah.
I think that he's just injured, like severely injured.
Okay.
Naruto probably finds him like in the ditch somewhere.
Yeah.
They go back in time, and that's like how the next season starts.
I think someone else walks in and fires the gun, and it's not either of the two of them. And I think that Kisaki's dead. Oh. That's what I think.
No, he's too good of a character to kill off like that. Like, I mean, he'll be going back in the past.
And you're right. When I say dead, I mean like shot, and like there's a good chance they'll be like, nope, never mind, because they did that a lot in the show where you think someone's dead and then not. Yeah. Anyways, that's the fucking end of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Dude, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
So, what's your rating?
My rating, so I was really confused a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because I'm a fucking idiot. And it's always weird having these conversations with Jay specifically because Jay's on top of shit. He doesn't miss shit.
Well, especially when especially when Jay is like really into an anime.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah, I've watched the show like 3 times in like 2 months.
Okay, so you're really
he's really
so
into,
you
like-
might have had some holes after watch 1 too that you filled in.
Yeah.
Oh
'cause
yeah, dude.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you were
Well,
just really
this is
smart and on top of it.
This is the thing. When Jay like is really into an anime, then he'll go on and read the manga, right?
Yeah.
Or he'll watch it multiple times. Excuse me.
Excuse you.
But like for me, like I watched this while this was airing, and then I haven't seen it since.
Yeah.
Right. So I really love this.
Yeah.
I really love this.
Yeah.
But not like Jay.
No. Okay, so my score is, despite being so confused, I actually enjoyed the watching experience, even with the confusion, and I feel like that's worth some fucking points.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10.
Yes! That's a great fucking rating.
Fucking Christmas in
Yeah.
June,
Dude,
baby.
it's
Let's
something
go.
about the show, things that would normally bother me, like time travel holes and like, again, confusion and too many characters. It didn't matter because in the end, the couple of main characters were worth the watch.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Sick.
Fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
I love
What about
that.
you, Jay?
So this one, like, it's very close to perfect for me. I will say that. There was some like I want to say maybe budgetary issues I had with this. Like I feel like the animation could have been better. Like I love. Don't get me wrong. The art style is so up my alley. I really love it. But like compared to like the manga. You know, compared to what I know these characters could look like and seeing other anime where I know how characters can be animated, I just wish this had more money behind it, basically.
Sure.
That's it. I just wish it had more keyframe animation, more money behind it. I just
Yeah.
wish it looked a little nicer.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like pretty much perfect. So 9.5.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
That is a high score.
One of my favorite animes of all time.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's a high score. Yeah.
I was overwhelmed with
yeah.
this one by how much I liked it.
Yeah. Sick.
I mean, like for me, it's on par with any other anime as far as like art and production quality, and I think it did it justice.
Yep.
I don't think it needed that much more. It would have been nice to have that much more, but like it didn't take away from it by any means, right? But I also really enjoyed the story. I'm gonna give it 8.5.
Nice.
Okay.
9.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
He always gives 2 scores. He always does that.
we were already like,
8.5,
okay, cool. 9.
Maybe a 9. I'm gonna solid 8.5. That's
right.
it. Solid 8.5.
All right,
Okay.
bud.
It is.
That's
It's a
good.
great anime.
Hell yeah.
It's hard for me because I haven't quite found a lot of masterpieces yet. Right, where like
Yeah.
you know, like
I know
I'm
what you
just
mean.
so like we don't give 10s.
We don't give 10s.
We don't give 10s.
Honestly, you shouldn't.
so my 10 would be a 9.5, right?
Okay.
So if that's my 10, then I have to give it an 8.5.
Yeah. Fair enough, man.
And that's
Math
gotta be
works.
that's gotta be a high episode for us as far as the average.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all
one of our
across the board.
Higher rated anime.
I don't think
Probably.
we've had like something like that since like probably Perfectable.
Yeah. Probably. That one
Yeah.
was really high
Oh,
rated.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Your Name was probably really high average.
Yeah, that was up there too.
Definitely. Yeah.
Films. This is maybe the first show.
Kill a Kill would have been very
Kill a
high.
Kill
Kill-
probably really high.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough.
Oddly.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
Jordy, where can people find you?
At Reaching It on Instagram. That's where I am.
Yeah, Jay.
At hanger.91, hanger91.bigcartel.com. I will have some merch for this one because I
Yes.
love it so much.
I don't
Probably
doubt it.
prints, shirts, that kind
I
of
will wear those shirts.
stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to pick a
absolutely.
bias first, and then I'll make you a shirt for your guy.
Can we all have the same then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait.
Makes it easy for
Did
me.
we
Yeah.
figure out who I am?
Who Mikey is?
Honestly, you might be a bocce, bro.
I'm a baji. I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I
can see you
Self-sacrificing.
killing yourself to save your friends.
Seppukuing?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see
That's
it.
really dark, but yes.
You are really dark, bro. Yeah.
You end up dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
the motivation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
I like that.
Hell yeah.
I'm Korean Barbecue 86 at Instagram. You can find me there. We're going to be at Anime North, either
Or
going
have been.
or have been. Most likely going.
Love seeing you guys
Love
there.
seeing you.
And we are at Shmanime Pod on socials. Come
Yeah.
say what's up. Tell us
Yeah.
hi.
Subscribe, all that
Yeah.
good stuff.
Tell
Love
us
you
to
guys.
promote it on
Promote it.
Parmote it.
Anyway, bye
Love you.
guys.
See you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.